Before I get started here this morning, I'd like to take this moment, if y'all would stand with me just in a moment of silence for our beloved friend Wes Fowler. I know that I can't come to these meetings without, there's very many days that don't go by that I wished he was there to be able to call. So at this time, we take a moment of silence for Wes Fowler.
Members out there and also constituents that only perceive us negatively and only perceive that the session negatively, we're losing light of all the great things that have happened and really the progress that we've made. Because I would contest, that in partnership with you, in partnership with the governor, and the legislative body as a whole, as a majority, we have moved this state forward. I think simply you could just even take a look at our unemployment rate here in the state. Our unemployment rate is one of the lowest in the country. We're bringing, the governor's doing an incredible job with his international mission to recruit companies to come here into the state. And really, it's not just that recruitment. You can't accept the full responsibility for the success that we're having. It's really the entrepreneurial spirit back home. It's the fact that we've got a workforce that is eager and ready to work. But also, I think it's the environment that we create on the county level, at the legislative level, and in this state as a whole. But again, what we're choosing to focus on are the negatives of the session, and that's what garners the attention. And you all probably understand more than most. You can be doing everything right in your counties, but it's that 1% that goes wrong, that 99% of your conversations, your feedback, and really the direction that people are trying to push you. That's what controls it, is those few times that things maybe go a little bit awry. I was hoping for an amen, Judge.
Amen.
Thank you. So we've only looked at the silos of taxation. So if we want to raise taxes for highways, we do it over here and pretend it has no impact really anywhere else or in that pocketbook of the taxpayer. And so this task force is going to take a look at the entire code and really even in some measures outside the code and make sure that we have a modern system in place and one that's fair and one that creates incentives for people to want to come be a part of this state. And not only did we cut taxes for those making under $21,000, but we also set aside and wanted to make sure we honored those that have served this country. And so I'm sure most of y'all are aware, but we have exempted military and survivor benefits from income taxation here in the state. Now, that helps with recruiting, in my opinion, when we're trying to draw industry here. It wasn't just a way to honor those folks, and if you want to be selfish about it, what it was is trying to get the type of people that we want here. Those are the folks that we want as our neighbors. Those are the folks that we want when we're going to showcase this state to job creators that are wanting to come in, and also job creators that are here in the state already. One of the things that I think is probably one of the most significant, that was probably maybe off the radar for most, was the fact that we helped further reduce those that are on the disability waiting list here in the state. Some of you know we have a waiting list in place right now. It's been backed up for a very long time, predates me, predates probably most everybody that's currently in the legislature. And what we did was take tobacco settlement funds and make sure that they're more appropriately used by taking them away from programs that really didn't have good outcomes and shifting it to true need. That's a dedication and again, something that I'm very proud of that we were able to do. Didn't get a lot of attention, but we also have to continue to make sure we chip away at that list. Our state's higher ed formula had not been changed in over a decade. I want to say two, but I've been cautioned by my buddy Andy here to maybe not elaborate it out that far, but our funding formula for colleges has not changed. So essentially, whatever was set in place over a decade ago has moved forward with a COLA type increase, if any type of increase at all. So it didn't take into account any growth that's happened in schools or the outcomes that's happened in schools. And so this new funding formula is going to be performance-based and really get us the result that we want here in the state. Another item related to higher education has to do more with our two-year colleges and technical schools. There's now a program in place, a scholarship program, that if you want to go into a high-need area here in the state of Arkansas for employment, you will have your tuition paid for so long as you stay in this state for 3 years. I think it's a major advancement for us here in this state, one I hope you'll encourage your constituents to take advantage of. Another item is Act 423. It focused on the criminal justice efficiency here in the state. Created a 3-year pilot program. We're going to establish 3 behavioral health centers. You know, the goal should be to make sure that these folks that have done wrong transition out, have a place to go, and are getting the help that they need so they don't churn and go right back into the problem. And y'all know that probably more than any about the burden that puts on us with that churn and the fact that the recidivist rates are what they are.
I want to speak to you today. I'm mulled over 3 different issues that I could talk about this morning, and issues that I'm sure you're all familiar with. One was odor complaints that we get. The other was asbestos, asbestos remediation, renovation, and the third was burning, open burning or burning of vegetative debris. And this past session, I'll say that I really have to commend Representative Marcus Richmond for the work that he did. He reached out early to ADQ and came in with an issue that he saw the counties were facing, particularly after a storm event. And I'm sure you all are familiar with, you got a storm that comes through, trees fall, trees are knocked down, limbs fall down, you got scattered debris throughout your county. And the current law, or the law that was on the books, essentially said until there's a federal or state declaration that the only way to pile those or put those in staging areas, put that debris in staging areas and get that approved on a fast track was to wait for those declarations to take place.
Sometimes local officials and levy districts can do everything right to maintain their levees, but Mother Nature overcomes their efforts. And Trevor kind of covered this, but the running water levee system near Pocahontas was actually constructed in the early 1900s, and this is true of a lot of the levees across the state. And it was constructed by the Army Corps of Engineers. Then in the 1930s, the Corps of Engineers turned the maintenance of the levee over to the local levee district. Well, then the levee district became defunct, and then the levee fell into disrepair. It wasn't until 2010 that the levee district was reformed. They took out a $1.2 million loan and assessed residents 50 cents an acre to help cover the cost of rebuilding the levee to its original design at 28 feet. But then, just in April, as you kind of already heard, the Black River crested at 28.95 feet. So even though the running water levee district did everything right, this year's flood simply exceeded everyone's expectations. More often than not, though, the problems facing Arkansas's levee districts aren't just limited to maintenance and repair. It's also the fact that the levee districts themselves they don't exist anymore. They've become defunct. The members have dispersed, they've retired, they passed away, and unlike the running water levee district, they were never reformed.
Have a note or a letter of appreciation that somebody sent you that you've kept. Raise your hand. Okay, yay, yeah. That stuff is appreciated, and I think in today's world, and I know you're all so busy, everybody across all the industries I speak to, everybody's being asked to do more with less. And I'm sure that that rolls over in your position as well. But to take the time, what if just once a month, you took the time to handwrite a note to somebody on your team or somebody in your sphere of influence and say, you know, I appreciate the effort you put in, I appreciate how you helped me. At the end of the year, you'd have 12 people, and at the end of a career for some of you, you would have touched over 100 people.